Hello, and welcome to day 2 of Bolts Analysis 2020, as I, your host Chris, look at the Tampa Bay Lightning and indeed the rest of the NHL and kind of try and pick it apart and see what's happening. Yesterday we had a grand total of, wait for it, 1. We had one game yesterday. But it was okay because it more than made up for the lack of action elsewhere. It was the 2020 NHL Winter Classic at the Cotton Bowl in Texas between the Dallas Stars and the Nashville Predators, and it was a good game, and it was also a pretty damn physical game. Literally, within the first 5 minutes, Corey Perry even does this to this on Ryan Ellis's head. And that's a game misconduct and a 5-minute major on Dallas. Not really the best way to begin a Winter Classic, certainly for Dallas Stars, but especially for Corey Perry, because apparently it turns out he is the first and only person so far to have a game misconduct in an NHL Winter Classic. You wait all day, it's New Year's Day, it's the start of a new year, it's the start of a new decade, you can do whatever you want, and you're elbow to that, gone, bye-bye. And even worse, I think this is where it switches from Corey Perry's perspective to Dallas's perspective. 1 power play goal for Nashville, 2 power play goals for Nashville. It's a 2-0 lead. It's in Texas. That's kind of dispiriting. The first goal is kind of one of those where it's like, okay, that happened. The second goal, you think, well, where was the marking there? That was a wide open man. Is this going to be, how we, the Dallas Stars, a team that prides itself on defensive capabilities, is this how it's going to be for the rest of the game? Because you can imagine a huge 85,000 plus crowd in Dallas just seeing their team get picked up. That would not have been fun. That is not how it turned out. Because gradually, as things wore on, Dallas actually started to get going. And it became obvious the more the game continues, especially into the second period, let alone the third period, Pekka Rinne was having to do quite a lot of the work. Pekka Rinne is a very good goalie. He nearly got himself a Stanley Cup in 2017, but he cannot do everything. And it kind of felt after a while he was having to make a lot of particularly good saves. He already managed to sort of eventually make sure the Dallas Stars didn't score on a penalty shot, but after a while, you could just kind of tell that Nashville was kind of, instead of trying to get that third goal, it felt like they were hanging on to a 2-0 lead. And that's never really the safe thing to do when you're on the road. You want to try and get it to 3-0, maybe even 4-0, completely kill the atmosphere, maybe even get the other goalie pulled, and then try to shut it down. Holding on to a 2-0 lead for 2 periods is always risky. And so it proved, because eventually Dallas did get going, did generate the play, managed to get 1 power play kind of working, but not quite, and then as 1 power play ended, they got it in again. A penalty was going to be called, didn't matter. Blake Comeau in the right place, no one seemed to be near him. Pekka Rinne didn't even have a stick, flailing around, and it's 2-1 to Dallas. And even better for Dallas, going into the third period, they managed to pick up a power play with a delay of game penalty to Nashville. So going into the third, as you can naturally, you still think, well, it's 2-1. It's not great, but it's okay. Try and kill off the penalty. 58 seconds into the third period, it's 2-2. And all the momentum goes to Dallas. Not just some of it. All of it goes. 4-2 Dallas not long after, thanks to a handy little rebound. And you never saw Nashville getting back into it. And what does that mean the rest of the NHL? Well, it kind of sets up this Central Division quite interestingly, because looking at it, St. Louis Blues are way out in front. 58 points. Could be caught, but going to be difficult. Don't lose many games. Very strong defensively. Good sum of parts. Clearly still very much enjoying, being the current Stanley Cup holders. Then you have Colorado. Then you have Dallas on 50 points. 2 very good teams. Both got to the second round of the Stanley Cup playoffs last year. Both will fancy their chances of a cup run, another deep playoff run this time, and I don't see why not. I guess the only tragedy at this point is that you're probably going to lose one of them in the first round with the way it's stacked up. Go into the wildcards, and it's Winnipeg and then Edmonton. Go out of the wildcards, it's Calgary, Minnesota, and then it's Nashville. And this is the issue. For a team that won the Central Division last year, this is not where you want to be. The one kind of positive is that compared to all the teams around them, Nashville's goal difference is actually pretty good. It's +3. That's even better than Edmonton, who are in a wildcard spot on -9. But 15 losses so far. So they are above 500, but not by much. And 3 straight losses. The only team that they're ahead of in the Central is Chicago. They would go above Minnesota with an overtime loss. But even if they were to win their one game in hand over Winnipeg, they're still 3 points behind. They're a good 8 points behind Dallas, and they're 8 points behind Colorado as well. And they only have one game in hand on Colorado, so it looks quite difficult for Nashville at the moment. I'm not saying that they're going to miss the playoffs for sure, but second and third already looks unlikely. So you're in this sort of situation where they probably are going to have to battle it out for a wildcard spot. And that's not really where you want to be, because Nashville, in terms of playoff appearances, have sort of been having this unfortunate diminishing return, where in 2017 made a Stanley Cup final, very good. 2018, out in the second round to Winnipeg, not quite so good. 2019, out to, again, Dallas, forced you in the series in the first round, despite winning the division that year. So it's just one of those things where you think, well, even if Nashville do get to the playoffs, would you back them to, in the wildcard spot, to either beat the St. Louis Blues or Vegas? No, you probably wouldn't. And that's not just necessarily because Nashville are bad or worse this year. It's just the fact that St. Louis are very strong and Vegas look like they're very strong at the moment. Certainly on current form, one of the teams you will probably not want to be playing at all is Vegas. So I think it's just one of those things where Nashville sort of just need to take it a game at a time. They do have games in hand. It's not a hopeless scenario at all, but they need to beat the Kings in their next game. Very straightforward. Go to Los Angeles, get a win. Not overtime, not shootout, win. And ideally win big, just to get the confidence back. Because it's clear that sort of even at 2-0, it wasn't home and hose. They weren't able to sort of manage the game, control the game. They let Dallas back in, and they never really looked like they were going to get back in. I think for Dallas at the moment, I mean, this is definitely better than last year. They're in third spot compared to a wild card. So that doesn't necessarily change anything about home ice advantage, but it definitely makes it more likely that they'll get a favourable draw compared to last year. And I think, from what I saw, Dallas play pretty good. They know what they're doing. They know what their strengths are. I wouldn't say there's a particularly weak part of the Dallas team at the moment. The power play was good, but they were able to score even strength goals as well. So that was an issue. Bishop, when needed, looked pretty strong. So yeah, if I was a Dallas fan, I'd be quite positive about that game. And I think going into 2020, trying to just make sure that they can stay ahead of the wild cards, teams like Winnipeg, teams like Calgary, teams like Edmonton, should be fine, I think. Doesn't appear to be... I think if they lost that, you might have gone, I don't know, maybe there's still work to be done. But to win that and win convincingly, that will set them up nicely. And their next game is at home to the Detroit Red Wings, who, granted, they did lose to earlier in the season, but I think that was before Detroit horribly tanked. And overall, Detroit are the worst team in the NHL by a wide margin. So as a Dallas fan, I'd be pretty confident of getting another 2 points there. Maybe overtaking Colorado, depending on how it goes tonight, of course, I guess. So, yeah, that's about it for this video. We'll just have a quick look at the games tonight, one of which is involving Tampa, away to Montreal. So far, Tampa are 2-0 on Montreal. One at the Bell Centre quite early on in the season, won 5-4 recently. That was a fun game. So tonight, it's Toronto at Winnipeg, with pretty even records there. So That'll be an interesting one to call. Sharks. At the Penguins, who are looking very good but have just lost Jake Gensel, probably for the rest of the season and possibly even the playoffs, if they get there. So that's not quite so good, but I would expect the Penguins to not quite wipe the floor with the Sharks, but should be easy enough. Lightning Canadians getting dangerously close to dipping below the 500 mark, so they need to win more than Tampa do. Obviously, I'm hoping the Tampa win. Oilers Sabres. Sabres only just in the 500 realms. Definitely need to pick up the pace. Falling behind. Oilers, again, for a team that was leading the Pacific for a while, that needs to improve. Flyers and Golden Knights. Flyers looking good, I would say, so far this year. 4-point lead on the wild card. So definitely doable to get the playoffs. Golden Knights and Vegas look very strong. Vegas leading the Pacific. Yeah. Max Pacioretty. Definitely one of he is their best player in every single department. So I think that'll be the Flyers' MO, stop Pacioretty. Blues Avalanche, always fun. First versus second as well. So someone's got to, come out second best in that one. It's at Colorado, so that might swing it a little bit in the Avs' favour. Rangers and Flames, both. I think it must be so frustrating to watch either of these teams because you generate some momentum and then it just seems to not quite stay. And Calgary, after last year when they won the Pacific and then the playoffs didn't go well for them, Rangers feel like they're trying to get the rebuild to its logical conclusion of, getting back into the playoffs. Doesn't seem to be quite happening for either side. So I feel like that will be not a great game to watch defensively. It could be fun, but I feel like it's going to be frustrating for at least one, if not both teams. Devils Islanders. That's could not be in more opposite directions if they tried. Devils and Islanders, I would have thought that would be an easy win for the Islanders at home against the Devils side that has lost a lot more. Islanders have won 25. The Devils have lost 19. So, Blackhawks, Canucks. Canucks looking good. Trying to get back in the playoffs. First appearance maybe since 2015. Elias Pettersson having another good year. Not just, good as a rookie. His sophomore year is going equally well. So, expect the Canucks to win. Ducks and Coyotes. Again, Coyotes looking to break a long playoff drought. Ducks, move on. Panthers and Senators. Panthers need to win. Fallen out of the playoff standings with the bad loss against Columbus. Should be able to get something against Senators, but don't necessarily underestimate the Sens. They've got a few results here and there. They're certainly not as bad as they were last year. And lastly, Blue Jackets at Bruins, where I would imagine the Bruins win unless it goes to the shootout, in which case I think we know how that one's going to end because Boston can't win a shootout. Until next time, this has been Bolts Analysis, and remember, if Dallas can get 4 goals unanswered once, they can do it again.